this video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the books relevant to what has occurred already on the show. When necessary, a spoiler warning with a countdown will be given.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen.
I'm Max.
And I'm the Geeky Hippie. Welcome back to What the Adaptation, the YouTube show that reviews adaptations from one form to another. Happy Independence Day, Americans. It's 4th of July. You can hear the fireworks, or you might hear some of the fireworks going off. But happy 4th to those here in the United States. This week, we kick off with our Season 3, the furthest we've gone in any show yet, Season 3 of The Witcher. This is Episode 301. I'll say it for Max, Shaerrawedd, or as they say on the show, Shaerrawedd. Max, what can you tell us about this one?
This episode was directed by Stefan Surgic. Their works include Wayne's World 2, Person of Interest, Umbrella Academy, and several of Netflix's Marvel adaptations like Iron Fist, Luke Cage. Did I say Netflix's Marvel adaptations? I kind of missed that word. Like Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and The Punisher. They have a couple episodes here and there. It was written by Mike Ostrowski. Their works include CSI Miami, Jericho, and Being Human. And showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hirschrock, I'm going to butcher that name. Yeah. The majority of their work is split up between The West Wing, and The Witcher. We have a smattering of other stuff, but like the majority of it's like, all of The Witcher and The West Wing's like 28 episodes.
That's not bad that's a full season. 1 in 7 episodes. We did 7 seasons on that great show.
One I have yet to watch. In this week's episode of Happy Days, Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri play house.
Yeah.
A human, a dwarf, and an elf walk into an ambush. Dandelion meets a new toy, while Vizimir thinks he's a mastermind with plans within plans.
Well written. You're having fun with those, aren't you, Max? I like those.
I know Max is getting really good with his little blurb on the description. I enjoy that. Yeah, I'm starting to look forward to those.
What did you kids think of this episode?
Loved it.
Me too.
I actually really liked it. I know there were some differences from the book, but I like how they're getting closer to the book material anyway, as far as the at least how Yennefer is being perceived anyway, because they went way off with her last season. So I think they're trying to bring her back to where she's supposed to be, and I can definitely see that they're doing that at the beginning or at this episode. And
have you watched past this one yet?
I haven't had. I'm not doing that.
Have you, Max?
1 a week.
I have not.
Okay.
If anything, I was trying to remember when this happened in the books, because it's been a while since I read Blood of Elves.
This episode featured one scene from further on, but it's mostly.
And I'm I vaguely recall some of the stuff going on, but otherwise it's
yeah, this wasn't. This isn't a time of contempt episode. This is definitely the Blood of Elves, because the whole caravan with Yarp and Zigrin was Blood of Elves. And that was when they went to when they saw Shaerrawedd, and everything. So
I vaguely recall them jumping from place to place. I vaguely recall something about a dance, maybe.
You're remembering from something more when they went to Beltane, when Geralt and Yennefer ran into each other at Beltane, and it was something we didn't get to see in season 1. Would have been in season 1 when they did the stuff from something more, but yeah, they skipped that, and so I was happy that they gave us the Beltane.
That was a very fiery. I remember that. Yeah, the reunion between Geralt and Yennefer at Beltane.
I don't recall the hand breaking scene.
No, that's all different.
Yeah, that was new.
Or the monster, but I could be wrong. Like I said, my memory is pretty hazy.
That monster was new. Yeah,
like I said, my memory is pretty hazy on that front.
Riot wasn't part of the attack in Shaerrawedd. That was entirely the Scoia'tael, and it would have been. Don't know if I'm pretty sure Francesca wasn't there because she wasn't involved at this point with the Scoia'tael, at least publicly in any way. Even and Gallatin, I don't even know if he was introduced at this point yet. But so where are we starting, Bill or Max? Oh wow! Now I'm calling you Bill, and I called him Max, and I'm calling you Bill.
Question number 1. Of all the changes from the source materials, what are some you enjoyed and what are some you disliked?
Jen? Why don't you start?
Okay, I'll start. So change from the source material is hard because I don't know if you're referencing the game or the book. So I was about to say I will say my favorite thing is the dear friend they have going back and forth between each other, but that was more from the game than the book even. So
that's a game thing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. So that was kind of nice to see, but technically that's not. So I was gonna like kind of put it here, but like a question mark. But that was like more for the people that enjoyed the game. So
they have made it clear that they are going to be bringing game elements, game only elements into the story since the get go. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. So, in some small manner, it is an adaptation of the game too.
Yeah, so I was like, it kind of gets hard when there's like 3 different things you're trying to like do with each other. But anyway, so also the whole thing with Jaskier, I'm torn about because technically they didn't use him as bait in the books either at this point.
Yeah, he wasn't there either.
So I like the fact that Jaskier was in this episode because I missed him, but I don't necessarily know if I like the fact that they did the whole bait thing, but it kind of makes sense. I'm kind of torn about it. So
I mean, he got shot in the ass, so that's always a positive.
So that's what I'm going to go with. I'll probably say Jaskier the thing for both, for yay Jaskier, because otherwise I don't think he would have been based on the story that they were telling in this episode at all based on the books, but we got him because of the change.
Not only wasn't Dandelion there, but she wasn't there. It was Triss who was with them, and she was sick. She was really sick. I can understand why they left that out of the show. We don't need that.
Now my memory's coming back to where we should have been in the books. Because I recall last season I was like, Trish should have been, diarrhea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll probably put Jaskier for both. Yeah. Like liking, and I'm still torn how I feel about that, but I'm just happy to see him. So I'll probably say most liked, but that was definitely a change.
I'll say this: there's not a change I don't like in this episode.
There you go.
I like it all. If we were rating this episode, the way we do like the end of the season or for films, I would say that my love of this episode without having read the books would have been a 10. My love of this episode having read the books is a 9. So it not a big change. And the changes we've got, I think, were great and did a lot to fix what they did wrong with season 2. Because season 2 was...
They're pulling very much away from season 2 already.
Yeah.
You can tell. One episode.
They started to steer us away from that. And I like it. What would you say, Max?
See, I'd say I like the whatever that monster was, just from like a CGI perspective.
Yeah, that was cool.
Jackapace looked great.
Little face.
The reintroduction of the fire mage guy was sort of interesting.
Recast as well.
Seeing him kind of come back as a villain, but also like dislike of, okay, you have Geralt just break his hands, but he didn't just finish him off.
Right. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Like, you disabled him, and you could just put a sword through his head, and then he won't be a threat.
He did it
Because these people can.
I don't think Geralt wanted to delay any longer from the time he picked up his sword to the time he got back to the portal, because something had changed and something was going wrong over there. He knew, because 2 arrows had come through and there hadn't been any archers before.
But from my perspective, waving your arm backwards and swinging a sword doesn't waste as much time. But plot device dictates you have to run through the portal so he can come back as a villain later.
Right.
Yeah, that was my partner's number one comment about the show. He goes, it wouldn't even take any time. Just take it, just go. There you go by. I'm like, okay.
Or crush his throat while you're bringing him down.
That was his number one thing.
I think Geralt's interest in worrying about Riance totally evaporated once he realized something was wrong on the other side of the portal. Just Riance who? And I'm probably going to be sticking to pronunciations I picked up from Peter Kenny listening to the books, especially since I just recently listened to the books a 3rd time now. Not the anthologies, just the novels. Over the course of about 2 weeks, plowed through them again. But so yeah, it's Riance to me, not Riance. But one particular change I liked was that whole sequence at the beginning. In particular, I liked the whole dear friend, and the moving to different homes and everything. Really makes me happy that dear friend's part of the game. I'm like, that's nice. I'm looking forward to when I sit down and watch the games. I'm not going to play them, but I'll watch them.
Okay.
But as a viewer, the dear friend thing was like, in some way, didn't make much sense. Like, you're traveling together, but you're writing a dear friend letters. Like, it's kind of weird.
It's called passive aggressive. Just a little.
Because at some point, it's like, you're traveling together, but you're communicating by a letter.
That's a lover quarrel fight situation for sure.
And tell me you've never texted with your girlfriend in the same room or in the same house at the same time, Could
you get up and turn off that light? Or could you do this? Could you do that? Like, thank you.
Go get me a sandwich. That's one that doesn't get responded.
Left on red.
Yeah, I don't know. Quite a bit of difference between going through the effort of writing a letter like that.
She is a 90-year-old who's gotten a little cranky in her old age.
Yeah.
She's used to getting her way, and she's not getting her way.
I don't know if you've ever written, quill and ink on paper and sand it and seal it with wax. But that is dedicated. That is some dedicated craft.
It is. I have not done it, but
I had a fountain pen when I was a kid, and I used to write
it takes
a lot
time.
with that. Yeah, it does. And that's without having to pause and dip the quill.
And you can't go too fast because of each line.
But yeah, I don't care. I love them. I loved it. I thought it was great, and
I liked it.
It was part of that pulling back from season 2's misstep of giving them every reason in the world to distrust Yennefer. It's way too, from the misstep of having Geralt distrust Yennefer to the misstep of having the Brotherhood of Sorcerers mistrust Yennefer to having the Kings of the North, mistrust Yennefer. It was not the right time to do something like that, and they had to pull back, and Jen knows why. I don't know if you've read into the next book, not Time of Contempt, but the one after.
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I just know that there's some political stuff that goes on later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
And it's hard to say between the 3 games what's all book accurate.
Right.
Or what order everything is in.
I see. My
Third game
concern
takes the
isn't
most out of
spoiling
order,
for the viewers,
but it's
because
still
I can
good.
always spoiler warning for the viewers. I'm trying not to spoil for you, Max. That's my concern. So if there's something from the game you think might be from the book, go ahead and mention it. But it's something like that. But yeah, I'm not worried about spoiling the audience. I can get around that.
Okay.
So
Let's see. Are you ready for the second question?
sure.
All right. How well did the show interpret the appearance and nature of the costumes, props, scenery, and creatures, both practical and VFX? And what did you feel about the music?
Music was great.
Music was on point.
It's
Sorry.
almost
Same
always
thing.
on point. I listen to the Witcher soundtrack a lot. One of my current favorite pieces from any soundtrack is Yennefer's theme, that whole oboe playing. Just it's magical for me.
I kind of like Yennefer a little bit. Did she change, or is it just me? Did she look a little bit different in season 3 versus season 2? She got prettier.
I heard people talk about that.
She got way prettier. She looks completely different. But in not a bad way.
Like she lost some weight.
She looks like she lost some weight. Her and Cirilla did too. Like especially and Geralt looked like he wasn't as thin. Like so it looked like it was a kind of a reverse between them. In my opinion. But I think Geralt looked amazing. Cirilla, I've heard some people complain about her makeup for how she looked. Like a lot of the rouge, the heavy rouge, the face paint that she had on her, especially for her age. So people had complaints about that. I was okay with it.
I was fine with it, but I did notice the heavy rouge.
She had a little bit. It wasn't, so that was kind of away from the book and the game. But yeah, I like the costumes and the set. I agree with Max. I really like that new beastie that they brought in that Cirilla killed, that she didn't have anything to do with in the books.
Face was a little messed up though.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of the bug alien in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, well, it has no eyes. It's got like 3 smelling or sniffers. But yeah, I've always thought Anya Chalotra was drop dead beautiful, so I couldn't say if I think she's gotten any prettier or less pretty. I don't know. I hadn't changed. It just, I noticed she seemed in a later episode, an outfit she was wearing, she looked a lot skinnier than I remembered her being. So that's the only reason why I noticed that she had lost weight.
She lost weight. I saw that too.
Yeah. I liked the Jackapace a lot, but one of my complaints about this show is that the only beasties we seem to get, aside from dragons, that are more colorful.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're gonna say.
No, those are the only creatures we get that had color to them, is the dragons. Everything's been like I'm not sure what color this creature was, because I saw it was so dark, but
it was like pinkish tan. It was like white.
Yeah, it just monochromatic, at least, you know. And most of the other creatures we get are like a really dark gray or a black, like the Kikimora in season 1 and the Striga in season 1. It just there doesn't feel like there's any vibrancy and color to the wildlife, at least the stuff that Geralt's fighting. But we haven't really seen much, so because they have kind of steered away from a lot of the monster killing on the show. Like there's not, I don't even really think there's that much monster killing in the books, to be honest. I mean, there is some. It's not like he doesn't do, he avoids it, but I mean, it is The Witcher, but it's definitely not nearly as much as I get the impression the game has, because got to have gameplay.
You got to have fights.
Yeah.
It's more like plot heavy. It's more like, okay, we're traveling, we're trying to get the body doubles. Was that going on in the book right now? I know the girl didn't know anything about it at the time, but was that going on where they were trying to
around the same time?
I think so.
Which body double?
Where they were trying to make they gave a different body double to Cyrilla, like there was another one.
That thing.
That whole was that right around this time or like right after it?
It
like
was,
I can't really remember.
By this time, do you mean as related to this episode's storyline?
Yeah.
So back in Blood Elves? No, I don't think the unnamed
the fake
Cyrilla,
princess.
Yeah,
the fake princess. Cyrilla. Is that in the game then? The fake princess in the game?
I
maybe.
don't remember that being in the game actually, now that I think about it.
I said
that was
maybe.
a book. That was a book specifically. I think I can't remember.
There might have been a fake princess, but it wasn't. It was like in the background.
But you've picked up that there's a fake princess later in the books, then.
Well, I think they mentioned it.
Are you talking to me? Like, yes, they did. 100%. That was a book thing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's why I was asking because I don't remember. I was going to say I don't remember. I don't remember at this point whether that had happened or not. Okay.
Maybe later in. I'd have to go back and look. It might be in Blood of Elves.
Okay.
That could be completely confusing. Timelines and wikis
it's
and all kinds of things.
There couldn't have been. You'd had to have picked up the fake princess somewhere else, because it's not until after the end of this book. I am positive of that because of
I read stuff on some wikis, so who knows?
Okay, yeah,
it
stems out of what happens at the end of this book.
Okay, I forget. It's been a while.
Which I can tell you, yes, we are getting. I was so happy to see.
So to kind of backtrack onto like the creatures like coloring and all that. If you want to go to like the monster hunting side of stuff, like it may not be colorful because like that could be like a mating thing. It has color to say, attract to it. And it's trying to either hide from a predator or hide from the prey to blend in. And that's why it's not colorful. That's why a lot of these things are blending into their surroundings, either to be a hunter or from the being hunted.
Very good point.
And the good question is it the hunted or the hunter?
Oh, this is definitely the hunter. They hunt by blood. Something that big is that anything predatory that big isn't going to be the prey of much else except everything's.
Well, given this world,
everything is the hunted when you have dragons around.
Yeah.
See, I look at this thing like some kind of rolling insect thing.
It's a droidica.
Yeah.
Destroyer droid.
So it's like.
I actually got that reference without the protective bubble around it, and
just kind of looking at like I could almost picture some big ass bird just swooping down and clomping it while it's trying to eat some, I don't know, deer.
I think it likes elves.
Probably.
That was great, Max.
Like I want to say the costumes were pretty decent this episode.
Yeah.
Though I'm not sure if Yennefer recycled an outfit this season.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And you're thinking of the outfit she wore to Beltane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first outfit Geralt ever saw her in.
Yeah, that was intentional. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, okay, she's trying to make some subtle messaging. That's another lady trick. But that was intentional. That was like,
and
you remember? I can still fit into this. You remember how we met?
Geralt really benefited from having just talked to Ciri and learned a lesson. He learned a very valuable lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't make that mistake a second time that night,
He
did
did
he?
not. He did not. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was very intentional, though, her little mask and outfit. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
that was. She looks
That
fantastic
was
in that outfit.
that was Notice Me Senpai outfit. Absolutely, that was going on.
Do you remember the password that she used to cancel everybody's hypnosis, charm spell at that that orgy?
Nope.
Was it? It wasn't. I know she liked the apple juice or whatever, or that she was like to drink or whatever she was drinking. Had it something to do with
It
that?
was
Oh no, I don't remember.
ragamuffin.
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 God, I don't
Just
remember that.
remember that word.
Okay.
Ragamuffin. I love that. That was the first thing that popped into my head when she walked in wearing that outfit was ragamuffin, because that's what I think whenever I think of that scene.
Okay.
That was the safe word at the orgy, apparently.
Okay, Max, I feel you.
I posted a picture in Discord here. It's when you
Oh,
when you pause a scene and it just like
Yeah,
face of the person is just like,
not good. Yeah.
yeah.
let me open it. It happens.
I was just
Why
trying to
is
do
it
a quick
taking
view
forever?
of various costumes because Discord does not like Glenn. Honestly, I didn't even notice the music this episode. I just went in one ear out the other.
Really?
The only time I recognized it like a lot was right at the very beginning fighting scene, because of course it's a brand new season, so they have to have Geralt fighting like right away. Somebody comes for him.
Right?
And he, because I remember in season 1 the big thing was like at the Blaviken fight, of course, that everybody was freaking out about how vicious that was in the sword fighting. So
Mhm.
a lot of the same stances or whatever, I guess, to build hype. But and they
Geralt.
kicked the music up for that scene.
Yeah,
So
Geralt really plays into certain types of moves. He's got this move he likes to do of putting the sword against a person's neck and then rotating it around their neck. He did that like a couple of times this episode.
He did.
Yeah, and I don't remember. He's done similar moves before, so it's one of his favorite moves. The choreographer really likes it.
Yeah.
I just saw that picture, by the way, while you were talking of Gallatin, played by Billy Amell, who some of you might know as he was on the Tomorrow People on the CW. It's Stephen Amell, Stephen Amell's cousin.
So I
Robbie
actually
Amell.
recognize him from Upload on Amazon.
Okay. He's actually
and I was
been
going to
on
mention it.
Arrow too, or one of
I was
the
going to
Arrowverse
mention that
shows.
later in the episode. I was going to mention that later in this episode here, but like, yeah, I was like, I recognized him from somewhere. It's like it was Upload.
Okay.
Kind of going through some of the other VFX stuff during the fight scene. You almost have blinking, you'll miss it.
Which
Jen will
one?
notice it from the big one of the elves.
Okay.
And when Geralt kind of returns to the fighting, blink and you'll miss it. Jen will notice the move, but he does like that shield thing. The Ard, I think it's called.
The Ard, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's rune. Yeah.
And blink and you'll miss it. It's probably littered. You'd have to go frame by frame to see how many of these things he just uses and you won't even notice.
Oh yeah. I've watched that scene a few times. It's pretty. He kills 12. I thought it was 15, but then I counted it really slowly. He kills 12 elves in 27 seconds.
So like just after he did the shield, I saw him just do a little push, and it's like it's barely seeable.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the sign of the shield is, but the sign of the Ard is the push. Ard is push. Ignis is fire, and I'm not sure. I don't remember what the shield one is. Offhand. I don't. It's not named in the books.
You got to push pump those numbers up. I don't remember. Look, I'm gonna find out for you. 1 second. 1 second, Chris.
We must know.
Yeah.
If they named it, it's named in the books or the games only.
Now I'm singing the songs.
But
Quen? It's Quen. No. Hold on. Let me check it out. Hold on. Yep, it's Quen.
It's also my favorite because enemies are hit and they just like bounce off and explode.
Mm-hmm.
How's that
It's
spelled?
for sure Quen. Quen.
Quen. Okay.
Quen. When are we gonna play Gwent? When are we gonna play Gwent? That's all I care about.
Never.
I'm gonna have to learn.
Let's see. Question 3.
I do still want to do a game night for a tabletop, just one night for The Witcher. I think The Witcher would be the most fun.
If you do that, you have to play Gwent.
Okay. Question 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
How well written was the dialogue this episode? Did it adapt dialogue from the books well? Did the actors deliver those lines well?
Oh, hell yes. Can we give a standing ovation to the sexual tension between... Okay, thank you.
Between who?
No, it's okay. Max said no. I've agreed.
I want to hear
Geralt and Yen this episode. They didn't even have to like say things. They just did the mooning calf glances, is what Robert Jordan would say.
I picked up on some tension between somebody else. I'm not going to mention who though.
Why not?
Because it's spoiler for later in this season.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. It's obvious.
It
was in my intro. Dandelion's new toy.
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. Okay, sorry.
He got his loot, or not his loot. His what was the thing? Loot? Well, I mean that's another word for it. Whatever that instrument he has that's so precious that it got broken again.
It's a loot.
Okay, it was a loot. I wasn't sure it was another name he used.
No, you're right. It's right on the loot. Okay, I know you're talking about,
That poor
but I think the dialogue was good. Yaskier, when he was in that carriage, Dandelion, however you wish to say it, and he was like, oh, I think it's really good. Maybe we just keep Ciri safe. I think it was very good as him trying to be convincing, but yet acting the part. It was very well done as far as dialogue goes, and the acting scene in that coach was very clever, very cleverly done. So I forget who the guy's name. Please tell me the actor of the guy who plays the dwarf. But impeccable timing.
Jeremy Crawford.
Incredible comedic timing and just absolutely a vibe. I enjoy every time he's on screen and has anything to say. The dialogue of him trying to be overheard at the end about the plans to the spy, that was all wonderfully done. The way he
the writing of this episode is great.
It was really good.
My favorite line of the episode is, yes, I know it's a rule of threes thing. It had to be done.
I enjoyed that very much. It was a tongue-in-cheek thing to
because
themselves.
It literally is the third time in the entire series where Yaskier gave his name. Yeah, I really like the rules of three line. But there's another line I thought was great at first, and then I thought about it a second or two later, and Ciri says, I'm part elf, I'm part human. I understand both because I am both, and that is my strength. For a second I did, and then I'm like, wait a second. She just found out she's an elf.
I know.
Or part elf.
I know. Yeah, she can't all of a sudden claim to have felt these feelings of the elves. She doesn't have any sort of...
If she didn't know she was part elf, and it took me like 2 seconds to realize. I'm like,
yeah.
Wait, no, she's not. She doesn't. Yeah. She might be, but that's like
Jennifer
the guy
can maybe
from
understand
that
because of her younger days.
Yeah.
Being sold and being treated that way because of her elven blood and everything like that. Okay, I can totally get that. But Ciri, that's a stretch. You're stretching.
If anything, I'd say I'd like the speech she gave about like stopping the fighting or whatever it was. She gave sometime around that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had to go back and listen to that line. Did she say the? Because she was on a roll there, and I'm like, wait. And then I'm like, wait, what did I just miss? And then what she? So it's like, yeah, it was a problem once I thought about it, and yeah, I understand why you didn't like it either.
Mhm.
I would say I like the line from the King Vizmir about, he wants to get his spy in here, his brother
Yeah,
involved,
yeah.
and the looks of his mages.
It was just like,
Kind
oh,
of
that's
their
wonderful.
dumbfounded look, like who?
Well, it's because
Mhm.
if I didn't know better, I would have thought Radovid was played by a guy who played Stifler. Just the guy, he reminds me of Stifler in this
Okay.
episode. It's
Mhm.
so bad. I don't know what it is about him in this episode.
Mhm.
So
And
I
it
looked
just-
him up. His name's Hugh Skinner,
Okay.
and looks like he's known for Les Miserables. Les Miserables? Miserables?
Les
Les
Miserables.
Les
Les
Miserables.
Miserables.
I can't pronounce it. He was known as Jolie.
Don't know.
Mhm.
He's been in a few things. A show called Fleabag.
Oh, that's a highly respected show
It is.
with one of the
He
stars.
looks very British in some of his screenshots.
Most people on this show are going to be British. Most people on this show, or at least European,
Mhm.
from actors that live from Europe.
Apparently a show called Fishboy.
Don't know that one.
Mhm.
Probably a creature that was killed. No. Apparently Star Wars Last Jedi as Holdo's first officer.
Okay.
Come on, Glenn, you should know exactly who that is.
Nope. I mean, it is my favorite Star Wars movie, but
Yeah, Glenn, come on, Glenn.
Come on, Glenn. No,
just
whatever.
because of that doesn't mean I know every bit actor who doesn't have a line of dialogue or a noticeable line of dialogue.
No, we're
That's me watching TV shows.
He's the guy that stands behind Holdo with his arms crossed. Come on, Glenn.
I don't know.
So where are we at?
Question
Dialogue.
number 4.
Mhm.
Oh, we're still on dialogue if you want to go. Keep going, or we can go question 4.
I'm good on dialogue.
4. What is the scene sequence you most remembered, enjoyed, and or hated?
Well,
I can tell you.
Go ahead, Jen.
I'll let somebody else go first. I'll let somebody else go first.
Okay.
I mentioned it earlier. I didn't say. I don't remember if I said it was my favorite scene, but it's that montage sequence at the beginning. Well, no, it's not. I'm looking at my notes. It's the wrong montage sequence. The one I'm liking, I'm remembering is once Yen comes over to get the wine, and she starts staying there and cooking dinner with there, and she spends all her time in that house. That whole montage, I just like watching the family life between Geralt, Yen, and Ciri. It means more to me as a fan of the books, just because that's what it's supposed to be. It's like you're reading the books all this time wanting this, and you're getting this here, and it's just nice to see. I also kind of really like Yaskir's first scene in the episode, the fight with Vespula, when Philippa and Radovid come sneaking up behind him. I like that whole scene there a lot.
I'll let Max go. I'll go last this time.
You're last.
Like the monster.
Yeah.
The random fight scene with the fire mage. Seeing the hands break was like good. Not so much not getting finished.
Did you like the opening fight scene?
A little bit.
Okay.
Seeing the hands get healed was like,
Who do you think did that? I'm just curious.
I know of one person that we know has a certain hand condition.
Okay. Being
A person I hope to not say, I hope we didn't see this episode.
we did see Strigabor this episode.
I couldn't remember if we did or not.
Strigabor, aka Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, I hope we didn't see him this episode because that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like him.
Great
He's
actor.
so dastardly. I like him.
Yes, he is
I'll
dastardly.
I will probably say my favorite scene. My favorite scene is like Glenn said, the family scene. But there's this one thing where they're saying like goodbye to each other for the last time, and they split up, and Geralt and Yen are like this close apart, but they don't actually kiss. That was like the most like heavy like tension, and it was really cute that at the very end she's unrolling her thing and he wrote a note to her and he was like, yeah, we're gonna be together again. So it left the viewer anyway with, oh, okay, like they're again pulling away from season 2, and the fact that they are, you know, a cohesive unit once again, or they're at least attempting to bridging that in one episode might have been seen quick as far as pacing, but I think it's working out well. So yeah.
All right. Ready for question 5?
Sure.
Okay. Who would you call the best and or worst actor? The best or worst casting, and you can choose up to 3 people, Glenn.
I'll start then. First of all, Joey Beatty as my favorite version of the character of Dandelion. Well, the character of our Alfred something or other. What's his full name? Anybody remember Dandelion's full name? Oh, Julian Alfred Pancratz. Yeah, my favorite version of Julian is by far Jaskier on the show. I mean, I dig the character in the novels way more than in the short stories. In the short stories, he's a bit more of a prick and more of a problem character, and both as a literary character and then as a person, you know, as a friend, he's like, why are you friends with him, Geralt?
Yeah.
You know, but in the novels, I fully understand, you know, you see it. I got to bring up Jeremy Crawford as Yarpen Zigrin. I've always enjoyed his performance as Yarpen. I think he's great.
I would like to see him get together with the dwarfs in Rings of Power. That'd be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
But he might hit on the wife. That could get bad and ugly fast. Real ugly, real fast.
That would get ugly.
I mean, that's why the dwarves go to war a lot. So
yeah.
And I always love Anya Chalotra as Yennefer.
She's amazing as Yennefer.
I saw a tweet the other day referring to her as miscast, and I'm like, no, it wasn't a tweet. It was a Reddit post. Somebody called her miscast. They said, as miscast as she is, she's really knocking her socks off with this role, acting her heart out. And I'm like, well, you're right on part of that, but no, she's not miscast. I have a fundamental disagreement on the idea that she's miscast, and I think I know where it comes from. Why they think she's miscast.
Could it be a lily white skin issue that they say in the...
Yeah, they think she should look like that version, whichever way it is.
Yeah,
that way. There we go. That version.
I'm feeling the same. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And that was one of the complaints that I remember seeing before The Witcher came out. After the casting was announced of the main 3, there were a lot of those complaints, and I'm like, have y'all read the books?
Yeah.
Did you pay attention to what Andrzej Sapkowski was talking about in the books? Yeah. And it annoys me.
So you guys are going to have to tell me the name, because I'm here and I'm prison. I'm not and I'll probably have to rely on Max for the actual actor's name. I'm
I might know
I'm
him.
immersed in the world. So you already mentioned him earlier, so I apologize. This is on me. I forget the actor's name, but the guy who plays the dwarf, what's his name? The
Jeremy
actual
Crawford.
actor's name? Jeremy
Jeremy
Crawford. Okay,
Crawford.
that's who you talked about. Yeah.
Mhm.
He is incredible. Like at first I wasn't too sure about him. I'm gonna be real. And like the previous seasons, but he's absolutely like fleshed out in that role for me. Like he personifies everything. Even with like, of course, because it's a dwarf and you have to have Scottish accent, that trope, it doesn't bother me coming from him.
No.
Normally that kind of stuff would, but it does not. I'll probably say again, Yennefer is a good cast. I mean, Geralt isn't okay. A lot of people think, I know it's gonna suck for next season. I'm not gonna get into that on this episode, but Henry Cavill really just embodies Geralt to me. And it's funny because I've actually met Doug Cockle on several occasions, and like it's really weird because like I've been at conventions and we've done the whole like dinner together and whatnot. So
Nice.
I
That's the
I
guy
actually
who played him in the game.
correct. So
Okay.
I've actually have like a physical like, oh, hi Doug, nice to see you. We're actually friends on Facebook. But anyway, but it's so weird that Geralt as Henry Cavill is just personified that to me so freaking much. So of course anytime it's gonna suck for me next season. But
See, so Jen, you were saying Yarp and Zigrin for actor. Anybody else?
can I say the people that I actually don't like? Is that part of the question as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With respect, I've never been a fan of how the elves are portrayed in these in this show. Just flat out. I just don't like
Mostly, yeah.
I don't like it. Like any of the elves, like the situation. Like I like the lady who plays her, the queen. I forget her freaking name. Yeah.
Francesca Findermere.
Francesca, of course. Yeah. So she's okay, and like but like everybody else around her, other than her and other than her brother and whatnot, they just kind of they melt into the background. They're not memorable. I wish I could pity their plight. I'd pity their plight in the books a hell of a lot. But like in the show, it's like I don't know. Like I love elves. I love elves in all forms of literature.
Which one
but in
on
the
the
show, I'm just
Is
like
there
I
one in
don't.
particular that you don't
Not.
like?
I wish I know we're saying actors in order to answer the question.
The
I
one with
don't
the
have
scar?
that.
Or the one with the long blonde hair?
Just any of the ones. Okay, so I'm thinking of the ones. What I'm talking about on the show in my head is when the dude, I forget his name, confronts Francesca and he's like, "You lied to us. You did not come
The
and fight
mohawk
with
and the
us."
scar. That's
So he
Gallatin.
was fine. He was okay. But the
Okay.
people behind him that were like his cronies behind him, and they
The
were like when they were
extras.
passing out bread, and I just did not. I didn't. I thought
You
they were
don't
just
like
kind
the
of like
extras.
cheap. Yeah, no, I didn't like any of the elves. Like,
Okay.
you know,
Because
I
I
don't like them.
I liked Phil Evandrel in season 1. The episode we got him. And I liked seeing him come back in season 2, although I don't remember him and Francesca being involved and and together. And so far I like Gallatin, but
I like him okay,
I was
but
happy
he's
for
just
Robbie Amell to get such a big role,
Mhm.
because he's not that well known of an actor yet. I mean, nerd community will know him a bit better, but
I'm not feeling the elves.
Probably dashes my hope for a next season of Upload on Amazon though. Because it means they probably poached an actor from Amazon.
Oh.
yeah.
I can't speak of the acting, but it was interesting to see Dara's return. So he like got a massive like fro thing going on.
Yeah, he got a lot more hair than he had last season, and it had
That's a
gotten even
lot.
longer. Yeah.
That's a lot of growth for a couple of years.
Yeah, especially since it's all braids. A braid reduces the length by about 2/3.
And like I said, I can't really speak of how well he acted this episode because he didn't really say anything. He just like looked at Siri like, "Hi."
Yeah.
He like tried to avoid her.
Yeah.
And I tried to avoid that the others know that he knew who she was.
Yeah, but they picked it up.
Yeah. For me, I kind of like the little bit we saw of Hugh Skinner as Prince Radovid.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
want to see where he develops in this role as the season goes on,
Yeah.
In the books,
because
it's
I could see
actually
potential there.
in the books he's only like 7 or 8 years old. He's Vesemir's or King Vesemir's son,
Mm-hmm.
not his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I feel like that's on par for Dandelion, but I don't know. Corrupting the youth,
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
not in the way Glenn was thinking. I'm just thinking corrupting the
I
youth.
was like,
I was
okay, I
like-
see what you're saying. I was like, okay.
Teaching him all the bad words.
What's your
Okay. Oh,
favorite?
you're talking
You like
about, like,
calling
a
him
Matt Coughlin.
Dandelion? You like calling
Yes.
him Dandelion?
I like calling
like
him Dandelion or
Dandelion.
Yaskier. Yeah, you're the only
I-
person I know that says that. Like,
Well,
outside.
I picked it up from the audiobook.
Right.
Because in
Right.
several of the audiobooks, he says
He is
Dandelion.
Dandelion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Let's
because the translator used a weird spelling of dandelion.
Mm-hmm.
Most people spell dandelion Dande. This
Mhm.
person spelled it Dilion instead of Delion.
That makes
And I'm
sense.
thinking that's why Peter Kenny looks at it and sees dandelion. I'm like, okay. But I actually prefer the name Yaskir,
I like Yaskier a lot.
even if Yaskir means buttercup. I think that's fun.
It suits him. Yaskier, the bard.
And this is not a spoiler. This is not a spoiler at all. But somebody actually gets called Buttercup. Somebody gets referred to as Buttercup, and I was like, I was starting to turn away to grab something, and I heard that. I went, what? I was like, wait, did I just hear that right? And I was happy.
I lost the name, but it was the prince's brother. I lost his name on here. Like
The prince's
IMDb,
brother?
the prince's
Vizimir.
brother.
It's the king,
It's it's lost on IMDb. It's just gone. There it is. Ed Birch. There it is.
Yep.
It's trying to find it. It's like just gone. Yeah.
Did you guys notice that we now have a new actor for Ryan? It's now Sam Wolf.
Yes, I've noticed that.
But like I said, King Vizimir, I from what I saw of his acting in this episode, I liked where he was kind of going with this character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's kind of like he's becoming his own person, where prior seasons he's been more like just letting the others walk over his character,
Right.
Being told what to do, what to say, and how to rule.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to become his own king, and he's clearly failing. We
Mhm.
think we don't necessarily know he's going to be failing as king, with his own plots and machinations.
Mm-hmm.
He might be more competent than we imagine he is. We don't know. Maybe he's incompetently successful. I don't know. But
yeah, my partner really liked him too. It was his favorite part. He goes, he's a lot smarter than he's trying to pull off. That he's not that smart.
The king.
I mean, he could be so incompetently competent that he just.
See,
Yeah.
I think the king's not nearly as smart as he thinks he is.
Oh,
I agree with
100%.
100%.
100%.
100%.
But he's so incompetently competent that maybe he pulls these plans off.
Mhm.
To the charging of the other, mages who are competently incompetent.
Mhm. I
They
agree.
can't kill a simple witcher.
Well,
No matter how many times they try. All right. Well, if we have no other actors, we have themes as our next question.
So I'll let you kids go first, as usual.
Family. It's about family.
There's one I've got.
Family. Even Cirilla's broken family. She's like, I'm half. She was trying to mend family is all what it is. Even between like her speech about saying that she wants to mend the human and the elf part of herself, it's definitely about, obviously Cirilla's family is the entire like plot of half the freaking story. But anyway, even their little like micro family, Geralt, Cirilla, Yennefer, it's literally kind of all about family bonds. And even Yaskier is being like, just kind of a
Crazy uncle
radiant
brother.
like part of it. Yeah. He's
Crazy
coming back
uncle or
to help
brother.
his, the ties with his family. So yeah, I mean, even the king calling his brother is technically a family member trying to help. In the show, obviously, the books is he doesn't have a brother. Like it doesn't
No.
work that way. But it's very family based, and you can even see that with Francesca trying to pull her weight around with the elves who are trying to get away from her. It's her brother died in the fighting, right? And she was
Mhm.
mourning over him, and she was trying to like use that as sympathy for herself, even though like she wasn't there. And how far do family bonds go? Because I don't think that, like, I forget his name, but that one elf is dealing with it anymore. He's like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to deal. I'm not going to live in her boot anymore. So
Yeah,
I
Gallatin.
really think that's it. I think that's pretty much the strongest theme that I see from
It's the
every
first
angle.
one I wrote down.
Yeah.
Yarpin even brings in family when he refers to his niece. Her beard is coming in nice and full this summer.
That's right, he did. That was funny.
And he also does thank Yaskir, Julian, for taking care of the other dwarves, because the dwarves that Yarpin takes with him on his caravans that he travels with, they're like his family. He in a lot of ways, not his blood family, but they're a second family that he travels with. And some of them are related by blood too. But did you have another one?
Me,
Was
as
that
far
the
as
only
like
main one,
themes go,
or do you want to pass it to Max?
reconciliation. That would probably try to be, and whether that's failed or not,
Or
either on the
forgiveness?
Justin side. Yeah, absolutely, that's right. Whether that works, sometimes in some people it's going okay. With the elves, I don't think so. That's not going really over very well. But yeah, it's a really good one too. That's it. I'll pass it to someone
Max,
else.
you?
Barely for much of themes. Seven was mentioned. We have a little bit of training stuff going on with Siri being unable to still control. Control being a theme still.
Yeah.
Training being a potential theme going on. What was it? There's touching on, why Yennefer, betrayed them as a potential theme, and the trust of why we should keep trusting her and building that up as building trust in the family and becoming that cohesive unit again. And that kind of ties everybody into that trade caravan going on. I think where else I was going with that. Having a brain fart here.
That's fine.
There was let's see, something to do with the king, having to do with him kind of coming into his own. I kind of touched on it earlier. Something there with the theme, evolving his power, coming into his own. Siri is trying to come into her own with the dance. Yeah. Branching out. His brother's trying to branch out.
Yeah.
There's something there. I can't quite get the word out, but there's something there.
Maybe?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Well,
There's something
there. Dependent. Vizimir has been consistently in the past dependent on not just Dykstra, but also Philippa. Philippa also controls him, or has for a long time.
We're kind of seeing that where we have these family bonds going in, but we're also seeing these other people kind of branching off from those families and becoming, like you said, independent and kind of trying to become part of their own, trying to like show that they are, adults or have their own power, trying to train into their own power, so to speak. Ciri's trying to train into her magic powers. The king's trying to train into his power of, kingdom. Espionage. His brother's trying to train into Dandelion, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely picked up on a lot about family. With not just Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri, but you got, Gage, Filavandrel, and both being family to Francesca. Um, Gallatin treating, his soldiers like his family.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness was a big one, not just with, between Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri and Yennefer, but you also see it as an element there between, after when Francesca comes and they try to get food from after Gallatin had captured that one caravan when they were opening the weapons and he was passing out food, and that was that conversation had a lot to do with forgiveness. We need to be together, work together, and I'm sorry, you were right. you know
That's true.
Trust, we've has been mentioned here by you guys. A lot of that dealing with, do we trust Yen or not? Which had to be a big theme early on in this season for, to make up for what happened last season.
Yeah.
um
Like, how are you gonna walk that back? And they're doing it.
Don't forget, Geralt mentioned back to season 1 about trusting himself regarding the genie.
Mm-hmm.
yeah
Yeah, he
um
did. He's like, I don't know if it was actually like you, if it was just fate or whatever. Yeah. But the wish.
Possibly one of the biggest themes and morals that Sapkowski was talking about in the books, racism or otherism is
Mhm.
going on. Is strongly present as always in these stories. Um, and Max even brought up the spies and informers that I had written down too. We've got not just the spies that work for Redanian intelligence, but there's apparently other spies out there who are doing a much better job than Redanian intelligence, because at least they keep being able to find where Geralt was keeping Yen and Ciri, if not at the time they were actually there, except for
Yeah.
that close call at the beginning, that 1st
Mhm.
episode. So, there's spies and informers all over the place. And the only one that seemed to be any good about, taking money for their discretion was Yarpin, and we didn't even see him get the money up front for it. So, any other themes, anybody? Those are the ones that I really picked up on, and we've all hit a lot of the same ones. Anything
I think we'll
else?
figure out more as the series goes on.
Yeah, this season will have a lot more for us. Any other notes that you wanted to bring up from anything that you'd had that you wanted to write, that you'd written down?
I like the ice skating scene. That wasn't mentioned. I
That
think
was
it should
really
get an
nice.
honorable mention. That's cute.
Definitely.
That had to be hard to do as actresses, like trusting each other, like to be on those little skates and actually do the fall, like if they did the stunt and everything like that. That was pretty good. I like that.
Let's see.
That's
I'm
it.
checking my notes. I mentioned the 12 elves in 27 seconds with a sword. That's impressive. Modern
With a
weaponry,
sword.
yeah, but with a sword,
With
all
a sword.
things. Yes, exactly. Um, let's see. I think. Oh, the professor's name in the book is Ralph Blunden. That's my last note that I have here. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, I hope the rest of you guys out there here in the US, at least, enjoy your 4th of July. Uh, I'm guessing you probably watched this in the day, if you're watching on the day it came out. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys, Jen and Max, for joining me on this. So glad to have you guys both. And I'm so happy to be back talking about The Witcher, because
Me
these
too.
books have become some of my absolute favorite books, and I've been dying to see what they did to make up for what they did to us last season.
They're doing a good job so far.
So far, so good. We'll see how it gets in the next 7 weeks. Unlike the Netflix, we won't be skipping any time, because by the time we get through episode 5, the last 3 episodes of the season will be out. So we'll just be plowing straight through to the end of July or into August, I believe. And then after that, we'll be doing the Wheel of Time season 2, which I know everybody out there has been waiting for. So timing is working out for us on this. Thank you guys for watching. Please stay safe tonight and don't forget to be awesome.
Next week's episode